So guys, we have many changes that were added as sound changes to the dev server, right? So let's talk about them because especially if you are playing with American tanks, you might actually like these changes, okay? So the first thing, I don't know if you can hear it, but hear the tracks. Hear that it's a little bit louder. So the tracks themselves are a little bit louder than what they were before, making sure that you can hear enemies from the tracks a little bit more, right? I honestly, in my opinion, it feels a little bit too much, but it is pretty good, okay? It is, you know, you can hear the tanks a little bit better. Another change, it's basically when you are in an urban environment like this, the gun sounds will be a lot less noticeable or a lot more muffled due to the echoes not being able to travel to you because of the buildings, right? So you'll see that it feels like there's a pillow between us and the ABRAMS there, for example, right? So the sound of the tank shells, you know, the tank fires will be a lot more muffled. Let's see if you can hear it. So see how it's just a little bit more realistic. It doesn't echo like the tank is right next to you without any, you know, any buildings or anything with that. And it's more focused on the echo itself of the gun sound. See, like it's a lot less noticeable, right? Which means that it's gonna be harder for you to notice, but at the same time, a lot more realistic and a lot more natural on the terms of the, you know, where the tank shots are coming from, you know, etc. Okay? Another one is for bombs, guys. So bombs will muffle all the other sounds with less distance. What does that mean? Well, guys, when you are dropping a bomb and it hits the ground, it does a very loud sound, right? And that sounds not only very loud, but it also basically takes it down all the other sounds that you are hearing when you are in the tank. Or in a general sense, like if you're in an aircraft but very close to the explosion, right? So that distance where you can hear the muffledness, if that is if that is even a word, but of the bomb, which means that it's gonna be less dramatic if you are from a longer distance, basically. That's kind of the idea here. So I'm gonna try to show to you guys. See, I'm dropping the 3 bombs there. We're gonna go to one of the bots over here, and let's go to this one. And you can hear the tanks that are very loud. So, I don't know if you noticed, but the bombs, they still have a lot of volume on the sound, but basically the sound of your tank, for example, or other environment, you know, things that are happening besides you, will not be taken down, if you will, on the volume, okay? Because of the bomb as much, you know. The thing is distance. If you are closer to the bomb, this will still happen. But if you are, like, from a longer distance over here, the engine sound, for example, of the tank, machine guns firing, everything will not be muffled so much as it was before, which is interesting. Then we have another sound change, which is pretty interesting. It is basically the gun sound of aircraft. Before, it was pretty much, it felt like that. I don't know if it was exactly that, but basically, when you click the button to fire, it would like play a recorded sound, right? And it was random. For example, if you shot 1 shot with the gun, sometimes you would hear like 3 shots coming out. This is very noticeable in the live server when you are using Gatling guns, right? Like the Vulcan, the GAU-8, stuff like that, right? But now they fixed that. So basically what is happening here, each shell that you are putting on the air is actually creating a sound from the fire, which means that short bursts will not create extra sound just because the gun is being fired, right? So for example, so each bullet that it's coming out of the gun will produce its own sound, which is pretty good. It really is. It's synced basically with the amount of rounds that are being put on the air, right? Like I said, this is more noticeable on Gatling guns, but it can happen on NR30s, I noticed before, and some other guns. So, for example, here on the MiG-19, Even if you try, if it's one shot, it is one shot. If it's two shots, it will be two shots. Very cool, right? So it's a little thing, but it does make a lot of difference in my opinion, because it was kind of annoying sometimes. I don't know if you ever noticed this. I noticed in many aircraft that you would fire like one shot and it would basically create like multiple like sounds of rounds going to the target, which was very weird, right? Another thing is nations getting their own domestic language, right? So for example, here with the Thai Stingray, for example, or all the Thai ground vehicles, you can hear, I don't know if you can, but you can hear we have Thai sounds, right? Thai sound crew members, right? Which is pretty fun. That is not only added for the Thai ground vehicles, but also for the Dutch ground vehicles. So for example, I need to research my France over here, but for example here, if we go to the, sometimes it's still work in progress. I noticed some bugs, but work in progress, right? So as you can see, Dutch language is being used on this tank, which is pretty interesting. It really is pretty cool. So sound changes are always very welcomed because we have these little things like this, right? And then the last thing that I think you will notice that I didn't mention too much of the Abrams right now, right? So let's show you the Abrams. Let me just see. I think this is the one. So the Abrams, guys, or any turbine, powered vehicle or gas turbine engine vehicle, right? Jet engine, basically, will have a little bit of a different thing on the sound of their engine, okay? So first of all, is that they're gonna be less loud, pretty much, okay? So for example here, it is basically going to be a bit less loud for other players, especially above 80 meters. And it is a lot more natural as well. So I'm gonna try to show to you guys here. So here, for example, we'll jump to the Panzer II over here. And notice how the sound of the turbine will be way less prominent. It will have less volume. But also, if I go very far, you will not be able to hear it as much as like in the live server. So you can already see that it's a lot less louder than what it was. It's basically, they're saying that it's basically the same volume as a normal diesel engine kind of tank, okay? And as you can see, when it approaches the 80 meter mark over here, you barely even hear it. So it's a lot less noticeable. And it will be a major change for the Abrams over here, because the Abrams always had this problem, right? That it was way too loud, any turbine engine vehicle, right? And sometimes it feels like the player just knows where you are. It's kind of like a hack even. But it's because of the sound of the engine, right? It was way too loud. So this combining with, the urban environment and everything with sounds like that, it will be a lot less noticeable and a lot more, it's just closer to the normal, V engines, right? Normal, gasoline or diesel engines that have pistons and stuff. So it is pretty good. And I think it's a good change for every single, it's not only for the Abrams. For example, the T-80 will be using that system as well. So yeah, very good, right? And basically these are it, all these sound changes that we had in the dev server. I've been meaning to actually do this video for a while, but I was waiting for them to see if they would introduce anything else. But apparently for now, no. So basically this is it. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and bye guys, see ya.